Started talking about this after the show. I got my podcast. I like when people finish what we started. You know what I mean? It was just a conversation. Now we here. You know what I'm saying? Like that's business, man.
We're here, man. Charles Allen, man, thank you so much for inviting me into your home. I know you've got some memorabilia behind us.
Yeah, man.
Can you tell me a little bit about some of the things you got going on here?
For sure, man. These are all shows that I had the pleasure, the blessing to be a part of. This first one, this is my longest running stand-up comedy buddy, Mario Salazar. We did a St. Patrick's Day, St. Lafrix. It was in somewhere in Texas. This was in 2019. This is a show I did with Bobby Smith
Midland.
in Midland. Oh yeah, Midland. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Midland. So this one is San Angelo, Texas. This is my tour that I'm on with Omar Gooding. It's called the We Out Here Comedy Tour. This one was in Spring, Texas. Big Spring, Texas. My bad. That was a dope show. And then this is New Orleans, Howlin' Wolf, New Orleans in 2024. We Out Here Comedy Tour, the New Orleans stop. Charlie Mack. Shout out to Charlie Mack, Omar Gooding, and myself, man. We went out to New Orleans and we did what it do, man. Just this stand-up life, you know.
What about this one? This big one right here.
This one is a show I did in Big Spring, Texas with Maddie Cupcakes, Adrian Green, and two white people. We had did a show together. That was real cool, man. No, these are my comedy people, man. We had a great time. I put this post up there because it's the biggest and it cover up the most holes on the wall. So that's why, that's the significance of this show right here. So
you can't ignore all of this, but you got to direct your attention to this one right here with two legends. Can you tell us about Urkel here in the left, Snoop Dogg, and yourself?
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna get out the way of the camera so you can kind of see it.
That was a special day, man. That was at the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas. Snoop Dogg and Jaleel White. I write with Jaleel on some shows, different projects that he was a part of, and he just so happened he got an offer from Triller. Jake Paul had a fight during COVID, right after COVID, but he had a Triller deal, and Snoop was the announcer for the Jake Paul fight. So we wrote a
You remember who he fought?
I can't tell you, but he was like on the other side of this picture, but on the other side of the camera, Snoop and Jaleel.
Wait. Jake Paul was the one that took the picture?
No, he didn't take the picture, but he was in the hotel suite.
I got you.
But the gist of it was Urkel was supposed to get Snoop Dogg high. Okay. And they was gonna start this big Triller business, Triller fight. I don't even know if it's still going, but that skit is on YouTube and it's on Triller, and they showed it at the fight.
How can people find it if they wanted to take a look at it?
Y'all could go to YouTube and search Snoop Dogg and Urkel. Triller.
And it should just pop up.
It'll come up, yeah. And I was there because I wrote the skit with Jaleel.
So how'd you get in contact with Jaleel?
Jaleel, how did we get in contact? He had a project and he was looking for writers. And this was in 2020. I had met Jaleel when I first moved to LA in 2004. I went to the Laugh Factory on a random Sunday and he just came and sat next to me because everybody was just kind of around. It's just like this balcony area for comedians and entertainers and stuff. And I was just new. I didn't know I wasn't even supposed to be sitting up there. But I just went and sat down and I was watching the show down on the stage, and Jaleel came and sat next to me, and I was like, damn, this is Urkel. You know, like, stay calm, you know what I mean? That was like my childhood idol or whatever. But he was real cool and we kind of vibed. And we got to talking, and I was telling him, you know, I'm a new comedian, I'm a writer, an aspiring actor. He's like, yeah, whatever, nigga. And let me watch the show. So we ended up staying cool, but we didn't talk for a long time. So when fast forward to 2020, when they brought the podcast, his show came back out, they brought my name up to him as a writer, and he was like, Charles Allen, why do I know that name? And then he put two and two together, and he reached out, and we reconnected. And his acting style and his writing style, ours complement.
Right.
So he just kept me around. And that was like the highlight of our working relationship, but we also have a good personal friendship because he's a really good person.
Right. And you said you met him when you were out in Los Angeles?
Yeah. All this
was 2004.
The first time I met him, when I first got to LA, 2004.
So you had met him in 2004 and then met him again in 2020?
Yep.
Yeah.
16 years in between.
Did y'all talk in between, or
No.
he just kind of ignored you?
I never even saw him up until 2020. And then that was the highlight of our little run we had. I mean, we're still cool now, but it's going to be hard to top that, saying I was a part of that project.
So how'd you get involved? Because I know I haven't really introduced you. I mean, if you don't mind, could you introduce yourself for a little bit?
Yeah, I'm sweating a little bit. Do you want me to do something about that?
if
I ain't know them lights.
If you're if you're uncomfortable, you can put on a.
I'm not uncomfortable. I just need to wipe my sweat.
For sure. You got something? I mean,
I do.
You can go get it.
Cool. My bad. We interrupt this broadcast.
You're fine, because I actually need to adjust your mic. So everyone that's listening, apologize for the quick interruption. We'll be right back.
When you talking.
All right, guys, we're back. Sorry for the interruption. We had a little sweat problem here. Bright lights tend to generate heat.
Yeah, that's all on me. I'm a sweater.
It's all good, but that's the thing about this show. Like, we can do things like that and not edit it. You can see everything raw. Yeah. But Charles, tell me how you got involved with comedy. Like, where did it all start?
So stand-up started for me in college. Like, I thought I was gonna be in the NBA. I ain't gonna lie to you. I started off thinking I was gonna be in the NBA. I got to college and realized I was trash. I started playing against people because my high school had, and I'm going somewhere with this, so just stay with me. I thought I was gonna be the star, but my high school had like 200 people, K through 12, and the population of the town is 300. It's Latexos, right? You pass through there on the way here. So I was a big fish in a little pond. So I get to college, and I'm trying out for the basketball team, and I'm learning that I'm not a basketball player. But I started doing these impersonations of people that was on the track team. I had a track scholarship too, so I started doing impersonations of people, and people would just die laughing at my impersonations because I would do an impersonation of somebody. I guess it'd be spot on. So they was like, "Man, we love it, man. Do another impersonation." That led to me doing tapes. Back then it was cassette tapes. This was before Instagram. You had these little square tapes. I'm aging myself, so yeah. We did these tapes, and they went the 90s version of viral because everybody all across the state and other states started hearing about these tapes. And long story short, by the time I finished college, I had connected with some people from California that was like, dude, you need to be doing comedy. Like, why you just... Because I would tell stories on these tapes, and the tapes blew up, and they just went crazy. And I still have tapes, but don't nobody have no way to play no cassette tape right now. But
what kind of impersonations were you doing?
Anybody, the coach, people from my hometown, crackheads, like. But I would be every character on the tape, and I would tell a whole story like it was a cast of people, kind of like Eddie Murphy on Nutty Professor. I would do but it was audio only. So I didn't want to do stand-up. People kept telling me, man, you need to do stand-up, man. You need to do something with these characters. You're just wasting this talent. I'm like, no, I'm going to the Olympics because I was running track too. I was always delusional about sports. So long story short, one of my friends was like, I guess he got fed up. He was like, bro, I can't watch you just sit on your talent. Like, I'm doing something about this. So one night I used to like walk around doing characters and like pranking people in the parking lots and stuff like that. He go to his car and follow me to the store that I used to go prank people at, and he hid out and he recorded it on VHS, another tape. And he sent the tape off to BET, and BET got the tape. And I don't know nothing about this. I don't even know this happened because I'm trying to train. I'm running track. I'm not even thinking about it. It was just another drunk night in Kansas. So I get this phone call from BET Studios, and I'm like, yeah, right. BET Studios, yeah, right. Because I used to prank people, so I'm like, oh, somebody trying to prank me. They trying to get me excited that I could have a career in comedy. So I hang up on the lady, and about 10 minutes later, she called me back. She was like, no, I really am from BET, and da-da-da-da-da. And I heard in her voice, I'm like, oh, this is real. So she's like...
Can you remember that phone call?
Yes.
How did it go?
Hi, Charles. This is Ava. I'm from BET Studios. I'm a producer of a show called We Got Click. Play on my phone. You can't get me. I'm the king. Can't nobody prank the king. So I get another call. It's like, this was your cell phone's flipped up. Like, Man, okay, go ahead with your prank, dog. Okay. No, Charles, really, this is Ava. I'm with BET. Her name was really Ava, too. BET, shout out to Ava. If you still there, you probably 100 by now.
Shout out.
Because this was during the black and white days, like when TV was only in black and white. That was like early 2000s. But she's like, yeah, I'm serious. We want you to come out here and do this show. And audition for this show is called Who's Got Jokes? I was like, for real? She's like, yeah. So then now I'm excited. I'm like, oh, this really is legit. I'm like, well, why not? You know, so she said, have you ever did stand up? I said, yeah. I ain't never been on stage in my life at this point. So she's like, great. I'm glad you have experience. That's really important. I was like, yeah, oh yeah. I've been on, I'm a king of the stage. So she's like, okay, is there any way you can be at the studio Wednesday by 4 p.m.? And I'm in Kansas at the time. She talked about coming to LA. I'm like, shoot, yeah, I'm right around the corner. I'll be there. Just tell me where to park. Between us, I ain't never been to California in my life. But I'm like, who gonna pass that up?
So before then, all you've been doing was these like jokes for your friends, impersonations, things like that. You've never done any sort of live performance in front of a lot of people, right?
Never.
Okay.
Never.
And that's what she was asking.
She was like,
can you come to LA? Can you do this performance? Why did you say yes?
Man, I guess because it was like all the people that was in my ear about you need to be doing something with this. It's like it came full circle. Like it finally reached my spirit, and my spirit took it to my brain, and my brain was like, "Duh, you're not gonna make it in sports. You might as well. This is what you're supposed to be doing. Sports is preparing you for this."
Right.
So it's kind of like a light came on, and like subconsciously, I just jumped on it, and got me a ticket. I was like, well, if I go out here and I audition for this show and it go good, we'll see what happens. If I go out here and I audition for this show and it go bad, well, I can't be 70 years old wondering what happened because I know I tried. So that was my mindset going into it. I wasn't trying to have no career. I was just trying to see what I could see. That's how I got started.
Have you even traveled before that time? Were you traveling? I know you were doing like
sports
track, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much the only route you were doing to for these travels. But this was the first time you were doing something when it came to that, right?
Entertainment related, yep.
Right. So once you got there, what happened?
Well, I told myself, this is like August 2020, August 2004. I told myself, I said, I'm gonna get it 6 months so I can say I legit tried, and if it don't work out, I legit tried. I can move on with my life, go sell weed or whatever. I don't remember what my plan was back then, but it wasn't much better than what I had going on. So I was like, what I got to lose? I went and I tried it, and that 6 months turned into 20 years. The show went well. The audition for the show went well. I didn't book the show, but I was like the last callback. But that gave me enough confidence. I said, if I can do this off of just raw, because the audition when I got to the audition for the TV show, I said, well, I'll just act out one of my tapes on stage, and I did that, and it got laughs. But they could tell I was kind of raw. So, but it was enough for me to say I got something here, and I said, all right. All the preparation that I used for track training for the Olympics, and the determination and the focus and the day in and the day out, you can't fall off. You got to stay.
It just translated into.
And I realized, God used track as the dressing room, as the weight room, and comedy was the actual game day. So when I thought, sometimes in life we'll think it's one thing, but it's really preparing us for something better. So I thought that track was my, Michael Jackson Thriller moment, but really it was off the wall to prepare me for Thriller, which was stand up. And what I mean by that is I thought that something smaller was my blessing when really the smaller thing was preparing me for something bigger. Track was the smaller thing to get me to the bigger thing.
Right.
So that taught me to not have it all figured out for myself.
Right.
Be flexible, be open to, be vulnerable enough and open to shifting against what you think, against your own plans, because you opening yourself up to a possibility for something greater to happen in your life.
Right.
So that was what that taught me. And to this day, I try to meditate and stay on that same, keep me open, keep me honest, keep me available to something bigger because I don't want to get stuck in my own way, let my ego block me from something that could take me higher.
Right. You gotta leave a bunch of doors open just in case that opportunity presents itself. You can go through that door and maybe alter your course of your life. I mean, if you weren't open to that, and hey, I've never done stand up, or I don't think I might be that guy that can go out there. You could easily said, oh no, sorry, that's not me, or no, I've never done that before, sorry. Then nothing else that you've experienced would have happened.
Right.
And speaking of things that did happen, this being 2004, we're talking about, no social media. Right. Your connections aren't as easy as they are today. You can contact anyone nowadays. Yeah. You can message Donald Trump and he might answer. In 2004, it was George Bush at that time.
Yeah.
But what kind of challenges did you face when it came to booking gigs or getting in contact with those types of people, or just your personal life?
What you mean? Once I got to Hollywood?
Once you got to Hollywood.
Oh, that's when the fun started. You go into Hollywood, man, and a lot of people. I hope maybe somebody watching this want to go to Hollywood or Atlanta, wherever the hot spot, Austin. When we start off, we have delusions of grandeur because, I seen Dave Chappelle. This is when the Dave Chappelle show was hot. So I was buying into that. Oh, man, this is like a dream come true. You just go out there and you do your skits. I could do skits. I need a show on Comedy Central, right? So I was a delusional, man. And it teaches you real quick that you're a part of the game, you're not the game, right? So, and I still was kind of fairly young. I was like 27 or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't old and I wasn't young, but I was still young enough to learn a lesson, right? So I go out there and I had this athlete ego attitude, like, oh, I'm finna come take over the game. Mm-hmm. And you talk about people that have been working on their craft for 10, 15, 20 years, and they've been polishing it up, and they've been doing open mics, and they've been going through the rigors of what it takes to become a comedian. And here I come, like, I'm up here. I belong in the front of the line. I'm on the list. I'm VIP. Excuse me, y'all. I know y'all been working at this. So, yeah, man, long story short, I ended up homeless a couple of times. Man, yeah.
See, that's something that you had brought up prior to us even starting, to talk about setting this episode up.
Yeah.
What exactly happened to lead you up to a situation like that?
Refusing to quit.
Refusing to.
Yeah, man. I sacrificed a lot to put myself in a position to pursue comedy. Like, so if I sacrifice time away from my family, or if I sacrifice time away from people I love or things I could be doing or whatever I could be doing, whatever I'm doing in that time, I got to make something worthwhile out of it because I don't want to take nothing from somebody and I ain't got nothing to show for it. Maybe that's ego or maybe that's whatever it is, but the man in me was like, yo, whatever you got to go through to make this career into something, this is part of your destiny. Everything you've been through to this point made you strong enough to get through every hurdle that you're going to go through while you in Hollywood. Stay true to your faith. Stay true to your laurels. Stand on your laurels. Stand on your morals. Stand on who you are as a person. Whatever you go through, ain't no storm strong enough to stop what God can do in your life. And as long as you believe that, everything that I'm going to go through, whether it's homelessness or whatever it is, and I'll tell you, I'm going to get to why. But this was my mindset to why I even allowed it to get to that point. Everything that I went through before that made me strong enough. And I just started like really believing in not necessarily myself, but hey, I say I'm a person of faith. I say I'm a person of, it's easy to quote stuff, but when you really living in that moment of, are you going to give up? Or are you going to live out one of your quotes that you be saying? Mm-hmm. I was like, I'm willing to go wherever I got to go. And how we got there, I'm not gonna say no names. This is a little Hollywood. I don't want to say gossip. I ain't no gossiper, but I'm gonna just be vague about it. I lived in this house. I had roommates. I lived in this house, and I paid rent every day to somebody that I knew. Every month, I paid rent to somebody that I knew that owned the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I lived there for like a year, close to a year or something like that. It was a really nice house.
They didn't own it, did they?
You ahead of me squatting. So, but I'm paying my money to this person every month, and he don't even, I don't know how the light stayed on.
Right.
But anyway, that was that. Like, I was doing stand up, hitting the open mic scenes. I was like, we was in the perfect location. The house was in a nice location. We was popping. I was like, damn, I can't believe I'm starting off like year 3 in comedy. I'm living here. It was a really nice house, and ended up getting put out. And I had a girlfriend at the time, but she like lived with her mom, and I was like, I'd rather stay at the bus station. So that's how that went down. That's how I ended up in that position. I was still working at the time. I had a full-time job. I was still doing comedy. I was working, and I was only homeless probably for like less than a month. I don't even think it was like 2-3 weeks. I would just take a bath in the shower or at the gym or something like that and stay in my car. But I was still doing stand-up twice a day, 6 days a week during all of that. And
do you remember where you were doing your stand-up?
Mm-hmm. They had this place where they still got a club called the Ha Ha Comedy Club in North Hollywood. That's where I started off at. That was the first time I did stand-up on the open mic stage. I was doing it there, and the Liquid Zoo. These are all old places, but dang, I'm trying to think. Liquid Zoo, Ha Ha. I can't think of all the names, but it was all around the 818 Valley in LA.
Mm-hmm.
That was all the places that I was doing.
So you said this all kind of happened in a month, which.
What you mean? What happened in a month?
You said you were homeless for about a month, right? You said you would prefer going to a bus stop rather than having the other living situation.
Yeah,
right?
I wasn't gonna stay with my girlfriend and her mama now.
What you also had a 9 to 5, right? At the time, what did you do?
Selling insurance.
Selling insurance. How'd you get into that one?
Yeah, I was hungry.
You were hungry and they were hiring.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't no formula to it. Hey, can you start? Yeah, I can start. Whatever y'all need me to start. And I didn't tell them I did comedy because I wanted people, like sometimes when you're a creative person or when you're artistic or even when you just entrepreneur minded, a lot of times structured society will look down on you saying, oh, I have a dream that goes outside of the robotic, go to work for 40 hours a week, come home, do this until you die mindset. You go outside of that, sometimes people look down on that or they look at it like you wasting your time. And I found out that the same people that have that mentality towards you are like your biggest cheerleaders when you make it and you make, so it's like, what happened to what am I doing with my life conversation?
Right.
But, so when I got to the jobs, I constantly worked day jobs. I'd never let them know until they really saw that I was serious about my job that I did comedy. Once they knew, like, I'm not here to be funny, I'm not here to tell y'all jokes every day, I'm here to work because I need this job and I'm serious about this job, then I'd be like, gotcha, bitch. And I start telling jokes and doing all of that,
Right. So, I mean, I appreciate you sharing that. I think it's something important to bring up because usually when people, let's say there's someone that's an aspiring comedian that wants to go through the same, maybe not the same route that you had, maybe they don't have a lot of things as a blueprint to look out for. They think just like you thought, I'm going to be out here, I'm going to get my Dave Chappelle show, my own show. During that time, what was life like exactly? I know you had the job. I know you went, you did your toiletries at the gym, but what else did you do besides that in that month?
I remember playing a lot of basketball because I had a 24-hour fitness membership. I'll tell you how a typical week would go. Give you like 7 days. Wake up at like 5 a.m, go to work. And I think at the time I didn't have a car because I think I sold my car to move to LA. Like I just gave up everything, right? And I didn't have a car, so I had to be, if anybody's familiar with LA, I would have to go from the Valley to Santa Monica on the bus every day, which is like for us saying you catching the Greyhound from Houston to Austin every day. No, not quite that far.
I was about to say that's a ways away.
No, not. But from Huntsville to Houston every day to go to work.
Okay,
that's basically what I'm saying to you. I would go to work, get off at 4 o'clock, go straight to the gym, play basketball for about an hour and a half, take a shower, go do stand up, 2 or 3 open mics, work on my material after I get out of work. On the bus on the way back, I'm looking at my material. I should have said this joke. I should have said that joke. Go back home, study my stand up. Shoot, look at what I need to change, and because when you're in a position like that and your life is in that dire strain, and homeless was not on the street like, hey buddy, you got a light. It wasn't that. It was more like you either sleeping in your car. And my homeboy Ty Strickland, shout out to him. He has his wife had a dance studio in Beverly Hills or somewhere. After the dance studio closed, I would wait. After I get off the open mics, I would wait for the dance studio to close, wait for everybody to leave, and I would go in there and sleep in the dance studio. So that was a typical week. I do that every day. On the weekends, I try to find something to do. I did have a committed girlfriend at that time. She stuck with me through all of that. And right before I got on TV, she broke up with me for a white boy. So hold on, what she was doing, she's a glutton for punishment. But shout out to my wife right now. That's why it worked out, man.
Shout out. During this time, what was your mentality like? Did you ever think that maybe you made the wrong decision by just up and lifting your life from Kansas down to LA? Was there ever any doubt, or did you have that mentality where you had to just endure this pain to get to where you wanted to be, where you can be at a level of, Dave Chappelle?
That was part of it. Part of it was it's natural. I think anybody that tell you that they don't have doubt, they lying to themselves and they lying to you. It's a natural human thing to doubt yourself. But I also believe that self-talk is one of the most powerful things that we possess. And a lot of us don't know how powerful our self-talk is when we say I'm depressed or I have anxiety. And I've suffered from all of that. And I ain't going to lie to you. The only thing that got me out wasn't no medicine. It wasn't no doctor. It wasn't Dr. Fauci. Dr. Sebi, my man. The only thing that got me out of any mental rut that I was in was my own self-talk.
Right.
I remember, and I'm just gonna be real with y'all. One time, I'm going somewhere with all of this. I'm answering your question wrapped up in the story. I had got laced. I was smoking weed with one of my friends. Well, I thought he was my friend. This dude I know, I ain't gonna call him my friend. And I had got laced, and I started tripping out, started seeing stuff and all of that. And cause I ain't really do no weed like that. And he had put some other stuff in it. So I was like Chris Tucker on Friday. I was tripping out, and I heard a voice in my head. Like at the worst of this trip I was on, I heard a voice in my head. It was my cousin. When I first ever smoked weed in my life, my cousin, my older cousin. I ain't gonna say his name because his church don't know. He probably still. Anyway, I heard his voice the first time we smoked weed. He said, "Man, it don't matter how high you get, you can always talk yourself out of it. Say, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna be all right. Just keep on saying it." And I don't know why I flashed back on that, but it brought me out of that trip because I was ready to start like really tripping because I was a lightweight. And I said that to say my self-talk of, man, did I make a mistake? Man, I can't believe I gave up everything for this. My self-talk was, but all the stuff that you overcame in your life, all the things that should have stopped you, didn't stop you. Why would you let this doubt in this new place stop you? Like, are you with it? Are you like that? Or are you not? And that's really what it came down to. How far are you willing to go for this thing? Because like I said, I sacrificed something to be here. So why would I quit when it got tough? Anything that's worth sacrificing for is worth suffering for. If I sacrifice for my wife, I can't expect the marriage to be perfect. And if it's not perfect, I quit. If I sacrifice something for that, I got to work for it too. You know what I mean? Like if you sacrifice to buy a home, or if you sacrifice to buy a new car or whatever, as soon as you start having tough times, you ain't gonna be like, well, y'all need to come pick this car up. You're gonna be like, no, I'm gonna get a side job. I'm this. And I really believed in my talent. I believe God gave me a talent for a reason. I believe it's bigger than me. I didn't understand that back then, but I knew something was in play that was bigger than me. So I giving up wasn't even my option.
Right.
And I even tried to give up, and the situations would never let me fully quit. It'll just be like, pull me back in. Oh, you just booked the commercial. I'm like, oh, I was on the plane on the way back. And that happened like 3 or 4 times. So even if when I tried to stop, just wouldn't let me. And I probably would have got back, quit and got back and be like, man, what am I doing? Get back on the plane and get your ass back in the fight.
Right. How long have you had that type of mentality? Because I know you mentioned that your sports training when it came to track, basketball, that kind of thing, that kind of laid the foundation for what you just told me. Mm-hmm. Have you always had that? Did you kind of grow up that way? Because the only reason I'm saying that is usually when people come into existence, they come as a package. Right. They already have this personality. They already have these gifts. It might take some person to kind of let you see what you already have. But when did you kind of notice you had that mentality and that kind of grit to endure things like that?
Growing up as a kid, I witnessed and experienced a lot of abuse. I witnessed and experienced a lot of things that a lot of kids shouldn't be exposed to. And you go through certain things where it's like you either gonna let this take you out, end up somewhere smoked out, or lost your mind. I'm talking about 7, 8, 9 years old. You experience stuff and you see stuff. Well, you ain't got no choice but to keep going, or fall off and end up, in a place in society where you don't want to be. Smoked out or on the street talking to yourself, or like that's the level of that's how greedy it was in the environment that I grew up in. So it makes you a natural survivor.
Right.
And I think it helped me with sports. And I think it enhanced my determination when sports didn't work out the way I wanted to, because I did feel like I failed, even though I didn't fail because I left it all on. It took me a long time to accept that I didn't make it in sports. But that determination was like, I'll never let this stop me again.
Right.
I look back at everything that stopped me in sports from being as good as I wanted to be. And I said, I bet that won't happen in comedy. So it's like you said earlier, I just let it transition into just the fire that will not be put out.
Right.
It's one of them birthday cakes when you blow that bitch out and
that trick candle.
Yeah, that's how my fight is, man. Yeah. And it all started from childhood. And I understood it. I got it. As I got older, I got it. You went through that. Yeah, it sucked to be a child and to be exposed to all of that. But look at the determination it gave you to get a scholarship to go to college. Okay, well, you didn't make it to whatever sport you wanted. You didn't make it to the pros or whatever. But look at the determination and look how focused and driven it made. So all of the pain it's like turning lemons into lemonade. And you ain't got to be no comedian. You ain't got to be no actor. You ain't got to be no athlete. Life is all about turning lemons into lemonade. And I think my hardest years was the ones when I was trying to prove stuff to people. Like now I'm doing what I do because I love it. And I'm doing what I do because no matter how hard this is, whatever purpose I got is bigger than me. And whatever I can go through on the way up this ladder, whatever suffering I can go through, doesn't even compare to the greater purpose that's going to be shown when I make it to where I'm supposed to be.
Right.
So that's what drives me now. I'm not trying to prove nothing. I don't know. I think ego is good, but ego is only good when it's not in control.
Right.
And I used to let it control me.
Right. Man, where do you see yourself? Like, once you've been through the trials and tribulations that you just mentioned, how far do you want to take this?
Man, I'm right in the middle of a dream right now. Currently I'm on tour. I don't know how much you know about my last few years, but I left Hollywood, one of the top TV shows, and I was one of the top writers. Well, kind of, yeah, still in the mix, but I left one of the greatest opportunities. After COVID, like I got weird, the world got weird. I started getting anxiety. I don't know whatever was going on. I walked away, and I started on this journey of getting over myself. Like, right, because before I moved back to Texas, I had this ideology in my head of this is what success looked like, and it can only happen if you here and you're doing it like this, and you have this title and this and this and that. It was all stuff that I had drawn, right? I had drawn out what success looks like, and I moved here. It's like none of those pieces fit anywhere in the puzzle in East Texas. What are you talking about? Comedy? Right. Who? What? Success? Man, you don't go up there. You don't own cows. You don't this. You don't that. You know what I mean? Like you in China.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You speaking English in China. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, it forces you to let go of all this stuff that you used to shape yourself.
Right.
I used all this to, man, I'm this person and that person. We don't know about that. The executive producer, what is that? Do you got some potato salad or not? You know what I mean? Like you're just in a totally different world. Mm-hmm. So it broke me all the way down to the basics. It broke me down, and it forced me to find myself through God. It forced me to see myself the way God see me, not how I see me.
Right.
And God see me as a dad. God see me as a son. God see me as a member of my church. God sees me as a nephew that's there for people that need me. And finding out all of that, not only did it make me funnier, it made me more grounded. And I eventually started back doing stand-up, but I still was like, well, I'm way out here in Grapeland. Like, what are we doing here? Like, okay, we can go to Love Lady and do a show. So I was kind of like bitter. The lack of a better word, I was bitter, but I wouldn't stop. And it was almost like I started getting out of my own way, and God slowly started moving pieces back in. He was like, this is easy for me. You could do it your way, and you could take 10 years to try to get what you was trying to get it your way, or you could just sit down and get out of your own way and let me just move your blessing into the driveway. Get a phone call from Omar Gooding. Hey, man, I seen you doing something on Instagram in Texas. Shoot, man, let's do something together. Like, this is a year and a half after I moved back. I'm looking around like, huh? Yeah, man. Then I get another call from Jaleel. He want to work on something else. And it led to, fast forward, I'm right back in the middle of the mix of doing stand-up, and the people that I worked with there are now coming here. They know where Grapeland is. They know who Deacon Taylor is. People that, you know what I mean? And God was like, if you would have got out your way, I could have did way more than that when you was young and you had patience. Now you just tell people you don't care no more because you're getting older. But it was a journey of getting out of my own way. And first I was worried about sweating, but then I'd be watching Mike Tyson interviews, and he sweat like a crackhead, so I guess I'll be fine.
So can I go back to, why you left the pinnacle of, what you believe was the pinnacle of success in LA? What, I know you mentioned the pandemic, but what exactly was it? Because what we heard on our side while we were in Texas was that pretty much everything in LA was getting shut down. Mm-hmm. The government was a little overreaching. They weren't allowing shows inside or outside. Mm-hmm. That's what we were hearing. But I mean, obviously I wasn't a part of that. What was your experience, and what led you to, finally leave all of that?
I would say, kind of mental, because it's a place that shapes you to take rejection, whether it's an audition or you wrote a script it shapes you to take rejection, and you got to be resilient. In being resilient, you can't get too full of yourself, but in being too full of yourself, your self-esteem suffers. So it's like a little cloud you start to wear over you when you in the industry and when you in Hollywood and you auditioning. After a while, some of your spunk go away because you done been told no 10,000 times. And yeah, I did a commercial 2 years ago. I did a movie last year, but you're only as good as your next project. Mm-hmm. And it just started to wear on me. But that wasn't my problem. That was like a little part of it. But the biggest part of it for me was when I got to the pinnacle. I didn't give. Everybody had VIP access to my kindness. Everybody, anybody that wanted an opportunity for me, they could get it. And that was when I learned, everybody ain't gonna give you when you have a big heart, or if you're nice, or if you're a loving person, everybody ain't gonna give you how you was raised. Some people see you as a lick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he cool. Oh, he'll let me come. He give me a free taco if I act like I'm hungry. If I act like I'm homeless. Some people see you as a lick. Other people like, hey man, I was hungry last week. You gave me some tacos. I just wanted to bring you. Some people meet you where you at. Right. So, in Hollywood, it's so dog eat dog. Mm-hmm. It's so vicious. People you love, you think they love you the way you love them.
Right.
Really just want you to get them on the line and eat with you.
Right.
And
so that's kind of what happened.
A lot.
Yeah. And that kind of just drove you away. I mean, you know,
a lot.
Coming from, East Texas culture, and for anyone that's listening right now that doesn't understand, the East Texas culture, people know Texas when they're, whether they're from California, New York, they think Texas and they give it this one personality, but there's something special about East Texas. And, can you kind of talk about, your experience in East Texas so people can kind of understand where you came from to kind of see the culture that you were experiencing that you ultimately left? Mm-hmm. Can you kind of explain, what your experience is, the culture here that kind of made you?
Southern hospitality, genuine people. Like, we're supposed to start this interview at 6:00. You didn't call me and say, hey man, can we push it back to tomorrow? You didn't make up no excuse and flake out. I didn't flake out on you because I respect you and I want to see you do good, and I know you genuinely want to see me do good. When you're in the belly of the beast, which is Hollywood, people will sell out their mama just to get a. So you in an environment where there's not a lot. I ain't say LA, don't get it twisted. LA is the spot. I said Hollywood. Hollywood is totally different than LA. But people it's so dog eat dog. You swimming with sharks. You're either gonna become a shark or you're gonna get so tired of swimming away from sharks, you're gonna get on the shore. Even if it's just to catch your breath and you jump back in there, which is where I was going with it. But that was to answer your question directly.
Right.
It was just like, man, I'm taking time away from people I love for this. I'm like, eh. And then again, I feel like the pandemic had having to go to a complete stop for me. I don't know about nobody else, but it took a little bit of my momentum away when I had to sit down for a year and a half and I was already dealing with Hollywood. So it was like jumping from the frying pan to the next frying pan, because like, it can't be no worse than this. I'm sitting in the house in California. I might as well go to Grapeland and sit in the house. Right, so It might have been a little diluted decision. It might have been a little bit of a emotional decision because all my family is here. My mama here. Everybody I love is here. So, and I don't know. I think that was pretty much everything that played a factor in it that made that decision make sense to me. But it all started with, finding out who people really were at their core and seeing what success or the pursuit of success, what people see as success, seeing the level of betrayal and just what it'll bring out of a person.
Right.
Like seeing the ugly side of somebody that, man, they really was just trying to rip me off the whole time.
Right.
And I would have sold I'd have gave them my last dollar the whole time. And they was just seeing me as a lick. Like that was it, bro. Like, and instead of it, when I feel like something is like gonna turn me vicious, or if something gonna bring out a dark side in me, I'm one of those people where instead of giving up that part of my values, I'd rather step away.
Right.
Because I don't think God put me in situations where I got to go through something that's gonna make me dark.
Right.
He didn't make me to be dark. So if it's something that's making me dark, it's either something wrong with my thinking or something wrong with the environment I'm in. So if it's bringing out a dark side of me or vindictive or envy or any of those feelings, that means something got to move around.
You mentioned a couple of minutes ago that no antidepressant or anyone else is going to do anything for you but you, and those affirmations and the things that you tell yourself were the things that kind of got you through. Now going through those experiences where you see that not everybody is out to help you. They might just, like you said, you're a lick to them, right? You're just another step in whatever direction they want to go in.
Right.
Now that you're kind of in this space where you can kind of breathe a little bit because you're not so crammed and competitive like Hollywood, what kind of things keep you level and keep you positive and keep you going? What kind of things do you do in your daily life?
Meditation. Meditation is big. I still work out, but also prayer, spending time with my family, having a whole life and not just being one dimensional. You know, one dimension of life is things that make us happy, our goals. Another dimension of life, these are the things that make us whole, because I could be one dimensional and have it all on the entertainment spectrum. I could be the greatest comedian, I could be the greatest writer, actor, and have it all, but my love life is empty. My wife left me, or I don't have my mama, I don't have my kids. So I'm one dimensional. But if I have family, I have my foundation, my faith, and I'm thriving in the thing that my gift, now I'm full. It's the spectrum is full.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm 3-dimensional now, and I'm not compensating one for the other.
Right.
And I just practice that. I practice gratitude and meditation, and always being in the moment of, I can't never get too full of myself, because it's always somebody that I'm accountable to, that I could do a better job at being there for.
Right.
So I just try to stay in the moment and maximize the time that I have with my friends, with my family, because we ain't gonna be here forever, and we ain't gonna have them forever. So I just spend most of my time soaking up all the life that I can, while at the same time being the best at what I do, and allowing a gift that's bigger than me to help people. Now, this is something I got to work on, to help people, whatever it was intended to do to help people. I want whatever gift I have to bless them and me not get in the way. Right. So if somebody really needs to laugh in Palestine, which is 20 miles away from here, and I'm like, man, I don't like Palestine, I ain't gonna, but God might have intended for me to go up there and do a show because it may change the course of this person's life. But I'm not over myself. Man, I ain't going up there, and I don't go. Now I just misuse my gift. So I'm learning to be more, because I ain't expected to blow up like this, either being here, but it did. And now it's like I have to be more vulnerable and open to doing what my gift leads me to. You're not gonna take every opportunity that's thrown your way, but some of them is not about me. Like, oh, these people at this home really need to laugh right now, and I hate going down that muddy road, or whatever BS reasons we give not to be a blessing. So I'm not gonna do it. But it's a little voice in my head that's saying, you supposed to be doing that. This ain't about you. And then you get there and find out, oh yeah, I booked this TV show in LA. You're gonna get paid $25,000 a week. I'm glad I met you today, buddy. Take care. And that's how it usually happens.
So it sounds like you're a big believer that laughter is the best medicine, right?
Yeah.
So, speaking on your comedy, before we started recording, I want to be honest with you. Speaking, like we keep going back and forth, like these little towns, or there's nothing that you can make out of these. But now that we're in a new age where we can record a podcast just like this in this studio that you set up for us, that's what you see on the camera.
It's
folks.
Better than some.
What I wanted to say is, how exactly do you? Because a lot of people think they're funny. You hear them and like, this isn't for you. All right. There's a lot of people that might want to be comedians nowadays because now there's so many. I mean, and it's so easy to get into the industry now. You don't have to go to Los Angeles. You can set up a camera just like this, upload it to YouTube, and someone can find you, even if you didn't send it to them. What I wanted to ask is, how exactly do you hone in your comedic style, your timing, pretty much the kind of comedy that you do, and again, bringing it back, the first time that I saw you was in Lovelady, a really, really small town in East Texas. I thought it was really cool that they had brought something like stand-up comedy to, my hometown. And, I didn't expect much. I was like, it's Lovelady. Like, it's always been that. It's been that way since its founding, probably in World War II. And nothing has changed in over 100 years. So when I first saw you and I saw the whole lineup, I was extremely surprised at how funny you were. Like, you and everyone on the lineup. So I just wanted to ask, how exactly do you hone your craft? How do you come up with the jokes? What's your process?
At this point, I hear it in my head, like, or I see it in my imagination. Like, let's say, I'm walking to meet you when you pull up tonight. I'm walking to meet you, and I'm thinking in my head, like, Now he knew, even though this didn't really happen, I'm just giving you an example.
Right, I get it.
He gonna call me to come help him with his stuff when he knew that he could have just parked in the driveway.
Mm-hmm.
So where somebody else it'll just be a passing complaint. To me, I'm like, I'm hearing myself on stage. Don't y'all hate it when you have company and you ask them the question and they want to park in it because they know you're gonna come out there and help them? Don't take advantage of my kindness and blah blah. And I'm hearing the punchlines. And so now I see it in everyday life. Like if you watch my stand up, it's not anything that couldn't happen in real life. And I might embellish a little bit, but it's all just from life experiences and stuff. Like I talk about when you get married, when men get married, women start coming out the woodworks. Like exes start coming, everybody started coming back around. Like, why you choose her and not me? Well, you wouldn't stop cheating. You know what I mean? Like, why you didn't give me a chance to ruin your life? You know what I'm saying? It's like the worst women be the ones like you hurt them so bad. Don't you got 6 boyfriends? And like, please, like at least give me something to regret. You know what I mean? So it just be through life experience, like real stuff that happens. You know, like my wife, when we get married, you know, when they dating you, everything is, oh, don't worry about it. She the coolest, most patient person. Oh, go be with your friends. Don't worry about it. I'll be here knitting a sweater. Then when you get married, you got your phone on like an ankle monitor. After you got out of prison, you got to answer your phone every 2 minutes and it's on FaceTime. Like, all right, what you doing? I'm just making sure you ain't doing nothing. Okay. I'm in the bathroom, baby. You in the living room. What you talking about? Like, we're in the same house. But it's not that bad. I embellished that, but it's life stuff that married people be like, yeah, they did change a little bit. So it's not like when I'm on stage, it's not like, oh, set up punchline. Let me see what he gonna say. It's like, oh, I remember that. That's funny. I remember when such and such. So it's just relatable topics. So I hear it in my head. And my biggest thing is just to be universal, where in 50 years people can still laugh because it's still true. And I always say, I'm good when somebody that don't know me, that don't know nothing about my background, in the middle of China, not China, but in the middle of America, that don't know nothing about East Texas, can listen to my material and relate and laugh.
Right.
That's my goal. It's not to make my cousin and my homeboys that I went to school with, the people in my college, it's to make people laugh. And that's why I love what I do, man. And that's how my process works.
I got you.
Because I throw away a joke. Okay, I could tell this joke in Love Lady because everybody know about Latexo, but I put that in the backpack when I put that
like
in
local comedy.
Yeah,
I got you. Charles, I think we got to take a break. I got to use the restroom.
Okay.
If you got to go,
we can cool. Pause. All right, cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Charles, thank you so much for the what's in this cup?
Bacardi.
Shout out Cardi
Bacardi B for the party. Can't do too much.
That's smooth. Brought to you by Bacardi. Before we took a break, I was gonna ask you, who are some of your comedy heroes? Like who inspires you? Because usually, if in any sort of venture, whether you're an athlete or you're a fighter, well, the same thing, you usually mimic them first because you want to be them, right? That there's a reason you got into comedy,
right?
You know, whether you did your impressions or you I'm sure you saw Pryor or something. I'm just gonna guess,
yeah.
But who did you kind of model your craft after, and then kind of develop it into the Charles way?
Martin Lawrence was one of the first ones. Tommy Davidson was a big influence. More current, after I started comedy, Tony Roberts, really, really big influence. If y'all don't know Tony Roberts, do yourself a favor, go watch his something, Tony Roberts. And I mean, that's the of course Richard Pryor is the top of the food chain with stand up, but I didn't know him. But these are all people that was relevant while I was growing up and doing comedy. But Richard Pryor is the one you go back and look and be like, whew, man, I could still do a lot of work.
Right.
And that's 50 years ago, and he's still like MJ, like Michael Jordan of comedy. But so those are the names that come to mind.
Man, is there someone today that you would probably like to work on a project with, like whether it be a show or even like feature like a set with them? Is there anyone else like today that you're really still impressed with, whether they've been doing it for a short time or a long time,
that I would like to work with?
Mm-hmm. Someone that you haven't worked with, because you've worked with Mr. Urkel.
That I haven't, that I would love to work with. I would say I would have to say Earthquake, man. He
I haven't heard of any of his stuff, but he was on a podcast that I heard with him, and he's super funny.
He is a beast.
Yeah, where's he out of?
Earthquake is out. He's from DC, Maryland, somewhere in that area, but he live in LA. He have his own podcast called Quake's House. I used to be a regular on that show, and I would just be sitting there watching, like, man, how can one person be this funny? But he been doing radio and stand up 20, 30, 35 years, and that's why when I see people like him, it remind me to, as that young comedian coming in, like, you're not going to be able to skip in line when people like Earthquake are just now barely getting the flowers he deserves.
Right.
And
it's a little humbling when you see someone that, that is trying to do the same thing as you, and they're still trying to go over hurdles.
Right.
And you're like, all right, I haven't paid my dues yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it actually helps you in the long run, because now you have to do more work. I mean, you can, I don't know. Again, I've asked you about your process, and it kind of sounds like it's a freestyle that you're telling me, right? You're observing day-to-day life, and you make it comedic, right? You're really observative of a lot of little things that a lot of people would just overlook.
Yeah. Or they wouldn't see the humor in it.
Yeah. Do you ever write anything like when it comes to your sets? How does that go? You think of these situations, like, for example, me pulling up and asking for help and whatnot, making that into a joke and making it work. What's your process of making, let's say, like a 5-minute stand-up routine?
All right. The first time I went to Atlanta, I always heard, it's a lot of black people in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I got to Atlanta, get off the plane, and I'm looking around for the white people. They was black too. So boom, I'm gonna use that on stage.
Right.
All right. And then I get in the Uber, and I don't know where I'm at. I was like, hey man, I said, which part of town? Like, where's the black part of town?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, oh, it's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like all this stuff is happening. Then you get to the hotel, and you you get to the hotel, and you think you finna get jacked because the dude walking up on you. You like, man, what you doing? You know what I mean? Like, I ain't from here, So he walking up on me all aggressive and this and that, and I'm giving him a look like, hey, we can take it there if you want to take it there. Then come to find out he the one checking you in at the hotel, and so it's like just observing stuff that if you from Atlanta, you probably wouldn't notice that this. But like, yeah, man, these people, like, it's an aggressive place, but when you see yourself in the mirror, sometimes you be like, dang, I look like that. And everybody can relate to it. And it's not like I'm putting them down. I'm just making light of everyday life. And I'm not writing no magic abracadabra joke.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we also talking about 20 years in, year 1, 2, and 3, my jokes was all, what do you think about Roman noodles? When I was young, I used to eat, it was more ABC 1, 2, 3 jokes.
Right.
But it took me a while to get to where I could talk to somebody in the crowd for 5 minutes and it'd be a funny bit.
Right.
It ain't something I just turned on. Like, it took me 10 years of my career was finding my stage presence.
Usually they say when it comes to becoming a well-rounded comedian, it usually takes around 10 years to perfect that craft. Would you say that's an accurate assessment of time?
Yeah, 10 is light. It take you 10 years to find your voice, and then I think it takes more years to find out where it fits, to see yourself as an audience member and change in the moment. Like, you work your way up to all of these milestones, and then to get comfortable stepping outside of yourself, trusting your talent enough to say, I'm gonna step outside of myself. I'm gonna see myself as this is happening in a split second. see myself as a crowd member, change my expression, the way I'm turning into the crowd, raise the pitch of my voice, express your face when you touch the phone. All this is going through my head while I'm telling the joke, and still land the joke. So it's almost like one of those BMX riders. They jump over the ramp, they flip, they take their hands off the handlebars, they do a backflip, and it all happened in a split second, and they land that bitch. And the joke is just like that. Every joke is just like, I know what I'm gonna say, but I got to deliver it in a way that's gonna be funny. I can't just land it. I got to do the flips and take my hand off the handlebars too. So it's kind of like that.
When you're in the audience and you're looking at someone perform, specifically comedy, I think that they put themselves in your shoes, in their mind. They're like, I would never, whether you're dancing around or saying some sort of dirty joke, maybe they were like, I would never do something like that because I'd be so scared to do it. They're probably nervous themselves because they're probably going to get picked on. Do you ever feel like a sense of nervousness before you get up there, or even during the set? Is there any point in your set where you're like, I'm a little nervous right now, I might mess up, or does that ever cross your mind?
I'm never nervous on stage. I've never been nervous maybe a couple of times if it's going bad and somebody be like, you better make me laugh, I paid $30 and they way bigger than you, but
and you're a big dude, so that's saying a lot.
It don't mean nothing. It's always somebody got a match, you know what I mean? But between me and you, every time I have ever did stand up, I am terrified right before I go on stage.
And that seems to be like a common reoccurrence when I hear comedians talking about their performance. They're like, you think, wow, you're standing in front of people telling jokes, which is super hard. You think you can make your friends laugh in this and it can be done, but translating that comedy onto some sort of a way that everyone can enjoy as a crowd and not just your friends is extremely hard.
Yeah.
And that's something that I keep hearing from like top level comedians. Like I said, my favorite is Dave Chappelle. I think he's the best.
Yeah.
And he says the same thing. They're all always terrified, and I think that's a good thing. And we were just talking about
not something wrong.
Exactly. Even someone that we were just talking about, Mike Tyson. He said he would always be fearful. And this is funny. He wouldn't be fearful of the fight itself. He'd be fearful of what he was going to do to his opponent to the point that he would cry, to what he would do to them and what his family would have to experience, which is funny in itself. But like I was saying, you're telling me you're terrified. So tell me about, what you feel in that moment once you are terrified, when you're, either performing to a large crowd or a small crowd or, someone bigger than you. What does that feel like to you?
It feels like, I'm trying to get home from school and I got to fight the biggest bully to get home, or I don't go home.
Right.
And I really want to go home.
Right.
So if it's going down, let's get it over with. It's like fight or flight. Like, let's get it,
Okay.
And the more prepared you are, the more you want to fight that bully.
I've never seen you in the 3 or 4 times that I've seen you perform in Love Lady Estesti.
You ain't really seen me then, man. I'll be holding.
I know
back.
that.
No.
I know that. But in the 3 times, I know it's always a PG show. You always make it at least PG-13. But
not Saturday. I mean, not this week.
Not this week. That's good.
In this week.
Go in. I'm gonna be there. And I lost my train of thought. This Bacardi got me discombobulated. What was I gonna ask?
That back player.
There's no way you're undefeated when it comes to fighting that bully. Now, in the times that you have been defeated fighting that bully, what was that experience like? I'm talking about hecklers. I'm talking about anything like that. When I ask you this question, what comes to mind? What particular situation comes to mind?
All right. So I don't know about other comedians, but 90% of the reason I'm terrified before I go on stage is because I know what the experience is going to be like if it don't go good. Right? So you got all these people here, they're excited, like, man, we've been waiting to see you. Woohoo! Like, you got your little cheering squad. And then crickets when you get on stage. Now they sharing in that humiliation with you. Ain't nobody talking to each other in the car on the way home. Y'all somebody want to stick a gum, you know what I mean? Like it's miserable. But not only that, it's like you feel like you let everybody down.
Can we get specific with the situation?
Yeah. Oh, a specific time when I bombed?
Mm-hmm.
All right, year 2005, year one, Hollywood Improv. I did the Hollywood Improv, and I killed it the first time I did it. I don't know, it was beginner's luck. I don't know. That's one of the top clubs in the country.
Right.
And I killed it. It was an open mic though. Anybody could get lucky. It's like throwing a shot from half court. You might make one. So I hit, and I was like, man, I'm Dave Chappelle. Who is that? You know what I mean? Because I'm young still. I got the ego.
Right.
So off of that momentum, I'm inviting all my friends that I knew in LA at the time. They inviting their friends. So I ended up, she was like, come back next month. You're going to kill it. I love you. You're a great comedian. I'm like, yeah, you know I am. I see you at the top. You know what I mean? So fast forward to this next open mic that I do. I already built it up to all these people. I done sent them the little recording. They're like, man, you funny. Oh, we going to come see you. Now I learned what pressure feels like.
Mm-hmm.
In that open mic, it was no pressure. I was just flinging up a shot, you know, swish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm LeBron James, right? Now I got all these people waiting and expecting me to be funny. I don't really have no material. I've only been doing this for 9 months or whatever. I don't know. I don't have no stage presence. I don't have no confidence. I'm just out here, dog. And all these people, they're up here waiting. Like, they looking like, man, this is the next Richard Pryor. Here we go. So I told my first joke, and they was like, I was like, y'all ain't on the floor. Y'all hear what is this on? You know what I'm saying? So I was bumming, dog. Every joke I told, it was like my friends started scrubbing in their chairs. You know, you on stage, you can see all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Some people start yawning, other people fall asleep. Some of them just put their head down, like, you know, your mama when she embarrassed when she talked to the principal. Like, I'm reading all this body language, and I'm getting more and more humiliated, and I'm sweating like I was at the beginning of this podcast. So that's adding to my embarrassment. Then once your voice cracked, it's a wrap. I was like, the tear came to the corner of my eye. I was like, they ain't finna see me cry. I put the mic in the mic stand. Bye, nigga. And I didn't come out the house for 3 months. That's what it feel like to
Do you
bomb.
remember the joke?
No, I burned all that
You,
shit.
you probably went to therapy, got that
I
up.
was voluntarily homeless.
Right.
You don't even deserve to live in that house, nigga. You horrible. My self-talk was so bad.
Right.
Yeah, man. That's what bombing is like, bro. And that's why you don't be wanting people like,
Bro, the look you just gave me was a look I never want to see again.
what?
That's what bombing is like. It
Real
looked like
talk.
you just got done with, I don't know, World War II.
Yeah, that's
like,
bad,
hey,
bro.
like you got the notification from the general. The war is now over. We've received order from the president, and you finally look
Y'all
over.
can go home.
Okay, I don't never want to do that again.
Don't never go to war.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, it's bad, bro. Bombing is bad. And that's what, I think that's where that fear comes from, of knowing like, man, this could get, I can imagine, I ain't never boxed in no boxing match.
Mm-hmm.
I could imagine that's what a boxer feel like. Because I can't imagine you getting knocked unconscious in front of a room. That's worse than joke bombing. Like, comedy is a mental knockout or an emotional knockout. Boxing is a physical, your ass sleep. You know what I'm saying? So I could imagine that, like, you see his wife all excited. She got a card, a bobblehead of this dude while he going to the ring. Everybody excited. They got his picture on him, and then he sleep. You know what I'm saying? So, and they didn't realize he was trying to save them from, he know it's going to be like this dude clean him up.
Yeah.
So that's where the fear comes from for me. But it's also, now I look at it like, I need that pressure to make me want to make sure that bully don't never mess with me again.
Right.
So
Right.
I think it take a fighting spirit to be a comedian.
And I think when you don't bomb and you just kill that set, what does that feel like?
Can I cuss on here?
Fuck yeah.
Oh, what I imagine it's like, what it feel like when King Kong busts a nut, man. Like, you, the greatest feeling. No, man, it's just it's a sense of accomplishment because it's like I worked on this. I had these words in my head. I put them down on paper and I turned it into a successful joke. So it's just it's like an instant gratification stroke, like a stroke of lightning of you did that. And you do that for 30 minutes and an hour. You have to come down off of it because you'll be on a high. And you know, everybody else around you, if you come back to your environment, everybody else is like, yeah, man, I just got off work. I got to work tomorrow. Yeah, okay, good. So you got to find a way to contain that. And the thing about being good in comedy is the better you get at it, the more you feel caged when you get off stage. It's like going into a cage.
Right.
The exit, the steps down from the stage to the back to the world, you see that cell come open, 6565261, going to a cell. That's what you hear in your head. Like, I got to go be a civilian now. And then when you, when they open it back up and you got another show coming out, all right, we're giving you an hour to go out there and play basketball on the rec yard. That's what society is, like a cage. But when you really, like, I do it for a career, so it's my oxygen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because it takes so much of me to be good at it. It's taking so much of I'm putting so much of myself into it. So much of what I'm excited about is in that. And that's why I told you being home is giving me balance. Well, that's not the only thing that get me excited.
Right.
But it's hard because it's starting to go really well.
Right.
So I can't tell you that I won't be bougie next year.
I would totally understand it. Why not?
I'm gonna come pick you up. Man, leave that over here. Let's go, dog. What you doing, man?
Is there
got your ticket?
Now that you've kind of experienced everything that life can throw at you, the highs and the lows, is there any advice that you would have for up and coming stand-up comedians, like aspiring comedians that want to be like the greats? Is there anything that you would tell them just to kind of watch out for, things that you have to understand that's going to happen and things that is going to make them better? Is there anything that you would want to tell them?
This camera, that camera, do not quit. Don't let nobody tell you can't. Don't let yourself tell you can't. Don't overthink your way out of what you believe, what you love. Do it. Do not quit. Now, if you go out there and you so bad that people want to fight you to get you off stage, maybe go researching and whatever. But if you got something in you that you believe in, find out what it is and where it can be used at, because your soul is not going to be fulfilled. You're not going to feel no sense of fulfillment until you get that off of your soul. So whatever it is you feel, it could be comedy. Like I thought it was basketball, then I thought it was track, but it could be comedy leading you to writing, leading you to whatever. Be vulnerable and let the gift take you where it's going to take you. But whatever you do, don't stop moving forward and don't quit. Because I started off like, you couldn't tell me 25 years ago that I wasn't the next Michael Jordan. And now that's the furthest thing from my mind. But because I believed that, I was crazy enough to take a chance to try basketball, then crazy enough to try track, then crazy enough to try comedy. And it led to a path of, fulfillment, because I didn't quit. Because somebody said, well, see, that didn't work out, or they deflected their fear on me, or they deflected whatever. I let people talk me out of my dream, or maybe they want to see me do good but not better than them. So in order to not make them uncomfortable, I come sit by them and don't try hard. Don't do that. Whatever you got in you, get it out. Keep going. Don't stop. People don't know shit. Ain't nobody no expert. The greatest experts, the greatest people that can give you advice about your life is always the ones who own shit is in shambles. Do not listen to people. They don't know what the hell they talking about. As soon as you make something into a successful production, as soon as this studio right here is like the real, like this the real deal now, because that was a good show. It was like 30 people in there. But as soon as you turn something into a great success, all the same people that was digging your grave gonna be clapping. So why do we need to do what we do for people?
Right.
When you 80 years old, whoever this is, little 3-year-old kid that's watching this that want to be a comedian, when you 80 years old and you sitting in your rocking chair and you didn't try, you're gonna be like, man, I wasted 77 years of my life. Do not quit.
Charles, thank you so much for being a part of this. This went better than I could have imagined. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do this. I haven't done this in over a year, but everything you just said is everything that I've been thinking about. And it's just keep moving forward, keep trying. Even if it's not the best, you can, like you told me, you can only get better.
That's
so
right.
Again, thank you so much. I want to give you an opportunity to just shout out everywhere that people can find you, find your comedy, your socials. If you probably shouldn't give out your email, but if you want to do that, you can give out whatever you want. So this is your time now. Let people know where they can find you.
Well, before I do that, why not give out my email?
Why not?
Yeah.
I might just get flooded with dick pics, or I don't know.
My email is What's wrong with you, bro?
Nothing.
No. Yo, I appreciate you. Fourth Dimension, man. This is the beginning of something great. I appreciate you having me. I can see the win on you, man. I can see the level up. I see it. I got this. I can pick up on your energy, man. You about to keep surprising yourself. But y'all can follow me at Charles Allen 79 on all social media platforms. If you have any pictures you want to send me, I'm at Charles. No. Jump Funny Productions. We Out Here comedy event. Myself, Omar Gooding, and Charlie Mack will be coming soon to a stage near you. I'm gonna be on next season of Comedy Live. I didn't get to talk about that during the interview, but I ended this year taping a TV show. So I didn't tell you that Hollywood came back. Tell me. I just did. I'm gonna be on Comedy Live next season.
All right.
The second season. I'm the last episode.
When's that coming out?
I talked to him Saturday. Said it should be out either March or April.
Okay.
So it's a new stand-up TV show. Stand-up. So came back around full circle, man.
Awesome, man. I think this was a very good conversation. I learned a lot about you.
I did too. I told stuff I ain't told nobody on camera.
Bro, you're about to cry. I saw it.
You did?
I saw
it. It was a couple of times because when you asked me, you said why. I was like, damn, I had to go to that place. That's why I did that.
If anyone thinks I pry a little too much, I did send a text prior to it. Do you not want to get into something? He said no. So
because I want to know what, you know what I mean? I always want to see myself like an audience member.
Yeah.
My ego could dress me up to make me look different than the audience see me.
Right.
I'd be like, ego, shut up.
Right.
How do I really look with this shirt off? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like I said, man, thank you so much for inviting me into your home, a stranger. I'm glad we got to do this, and I got a feeling that this isn't going to be the last one.
I know it ain't, man. Much love.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. We'll be back.